Hey Diane, do you have a minute to talk about the SVI program?
Yeah, Jamie, come on in. Come and have a seat.
Thank you. So I'm thinking about registering for an SVI program. I'm just not sure if it's right for me.
Well, the SVI program actually is made for all kinds of learners. So the SVI could be for somebody like you, who I know you already have a diploma, but it can also be for a student who comes to us and has quit school somewhere along the way. It can be for somebody who's been on the workforce for a long time or somebody who hasn't been on the workforce at all. We also have the SVI that can cater to people who are coming onto the job market and want to get there as soon as possible, but have taken a long break. And that could be because of personal reasons, it can be because of health reasons, and it even can be because they've been incarcerated for a crime or something. So the SVI really is one of these great programs that can be available and made available to any kind of student.
Can you tell me a bit more about the program and how long it is and how everything works?
Sure. So like I said a while ago, is that the SVI program is really one of those programs that's very versatile, and that it caters to the needs of a learner. So essentially, we would start with the idea of you coming in, and we would do an assessment of employability with you, which is really just us getting to know each other. All right. So I get to know you and you get to trust me. Right. So that we're able then to sort of explore a little bit more your areas of interest, what some of the factors might be that will play on the development of the plan that you're going to put together, your learning plan, your training plan. Things like your commitments at home, right? Some of your personal habits that might interfere with that, as well as where you want to go, what your goals are, and how fast you want to get there. We're going to also look at some of the skills that you have or competencies that you have that you've developed over time. You've already done some programming, so this allows us to focus just on the dimensions of employability that are applicable to you. And based on what we come to realize is your profile of employability, I'm going to show you the different courses that are available. And you and I together would choose which courses apply better for you. And we put that into a program. But the other part of the SVI program is that we're also going to find a stage or a placement for you. Because at least 50% of the time that you're going to spend in this program will be on the job, so that you can learn the techniques and the methods of the job you want to undertake. So we have a bank already of potential employers who are interested in this program, but also if you know of anybody you want to work with, then we will go with your choice. And we will track your hours through that placement until the end of your program and you're ready to start your job search.
At the end of the program, what kind of jobs can I get?
Well, that depends on your choices in terms of the training that you're going to undertake and which of the stages and placements you will do. You can do, there's a difference between a skilled job or a trade, like when you did your DEP in electricity. But there are also what we call semi-skilled jobs. And semi-skilled training gets you ready to become an assistant, to say like the assistant to an electrician. And then you have the non-skilled jobs. And often we find a lot of those jobs in the community, and it's based on the economy of the community itself. So the type of businesses that we have. So it could be things like casino work. It can be things like working in a garage or working in a store. It could be in arts and crafts and trades. So depending on what area you're interested in and what area or what kinds of jobs are available in the local community, that will determine the kinds of jobs that you might want to be looking at and to make choices from. But then also if you're open to traveling a little further, well, then we can look at the outside area of the community and to see what kinds of jobs are available there. And then some students really want to travel far and away, right? To get away from the family, get away from the community for a while. And so we can look at some of these jobs that are available across the country or even in the US.
What about the stage? How long does it last and does it pay?
Good question. So the stage will depend on the contract that we devise with the employer, your potential employer for the stage. And so we'll set aside, or we'll write down how many hours it will take you to develop the skills and the knowledge on the actual job site. Now, if you're going for a semi-skilled trade, right, we have a minimum of 350 hours that need to be done on the stage. And so that will go there. We will put that in the contract for you. Now, in terms of payment, there is a possibility for you to be paid, and sometimes employers want to do that. You know, they have special jobs, or they have to meet their own contracts or requirements, and so they'll offer you a job, or they really, as I know, will be charmed by you and say, I want this person on as an employee, and so they can do that during the stage and decide to hire you, and that means that they're paying you. But because you're going to be an employee of theirs, they're going to have to take care of assuring that you have the insurance to work on their sites. Prior to that, when you're not being paid, that's covered pretty much by either the school council or the school board. But once you become an employee of someone, you become their responsibility.
At the end of the course, in terms of a diploma, what do I get?
Well, it depends again on which one you choose. So if you're doing a semi-skill, you can say, I want to have a diploma or certificate in semi-skill occupation from the Ministry of Education. And if you answer all of the requirements that are needed for that, the school then will put, or the center will put in all of the documentation and you'll receive your certificate. But there's also the possibility of having local certification, and it's just as important. Because with a local certification, what it does is that it tells the employers in the community that you've undergone this specific number of hours of training in these areas. And they can also communicate with us to make sure that you have the right training to undertake that job. And because we also have developed partnerships with them, the relationship that we have with them allows them to know exactly what you've done and to know you as an employee ahead of time. So the certification would then list what your requirements or what your skills are, how many hours you did in all of these different areas, and would serve you just as well.
In terms for the course, how many hours is it a week? How many hours is it a day? How long is it?
Well, again, this is going to be up to you to decide, and it has to do with your availability and your preferences. So let's say you are only available a certain part of the week because you have other commitments. You can come full time. You could decide to do group work or individualized work. You could also go full time. If your goal is to finish this program as fast as possible, then we would add those hours to your schedule to make sure that it fits your need. So it can be full time. Or it could also be in the evening. So I know that some students have daytime jobs, right? But are looking to get out of that job and into something more specific or develop a career. And so they could take advantage of the courses that we offer at night. Stages work the same way as well. They don't necessarily have to be between the Monday and the Friday from 9 to 5 when the center's open. You could also be asked by your boss to possibly work on the weekend or do the stage on the weekend. So in those cases, you'll have your hours booklet and you will track your hours on your own. And at the end, you will make sure that you get it signed by your supervisor or the employer. And then we take that and transfer that onto the system, and it calculates and keeps a total of your hours in stage.
In order for me to register, what do I need?
Well, in fact, you only need to bring one of the following documents. You need to either have a transcript of your high school studies, whether you have a diploma or not, And it's simply for us to be able to calculate the number of hours that you've done in general education. It could also be, or you could bring an equivalency of studies, like from the band school. You can bring that in as well. And as long as we can calculate the hours, it's definitely going to do the job. Some learners have also undertaken the GED, so that means an equivalency to the secondary studies. If they've passed their GED, then that counts as well. Or like for you, you have a high school diploma, so you would simply bring your transcript or your diploma to show that you've completed those studies.
Well, thank you for answering all my questions. I think I'm going to really consider registering for the SVI program now.
Well, Jamie, I'm glad that you came and asked your questions, and I look forward to seeing you when you come to register.